There we are. Hey, everybody. Welcome. It's Dr. Wendy Walsh. It's Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and this is when we talk about love, sex, relationships. And I'll wait till everybody comes on board. Let's make sure that we have Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and LinkedIn over here. Let me turn on the comments on this side. As usual, first thing I'd love is for you to tell me where you're watching from. It's really interesting to find all the places in the world people are watching from, or whether I see a aloha. I'm going to Hawaii, by the way, in a couple of weeks. I'm so excited. Thank you for the kind things you're saying. That's very nice. Tell me where you're watching from. Hello, welcome. Hello, Tom in Boston. Nice to see you. I'm trying to like squint and see the Instagram. Hi, Carol from Colorado. How are you? Who do we got over here on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter? I've got my comments on, but I don't see them coming in yet. Hello from Malaysia. Wow, you're really far away. Wonderful. Hi, Richard from Kansas. How are you? Nice to see you. Georgetown, Ontario, just outside Toronto. Well, I'm from Georgetown, PEI, by the way, and I lived in Toronto a long time. Hi, Dave from Australia. How are you? Wilmington, North Carolina, Blue Plate Special. Hi, Puerto Rico. How are you? Is it hot and sweaty there now? Hello, New York City. I'm trying to see them all. So hi, Brian in Virginia. Nice to see you, Brian. So if you haven't figured out, I'm making a very big announcement, which is that I have naturally curly hair. I'm sorry. I was in a pool this afternoon. I got out and I thought to myself, do I have to record any video tomorrow? No. Will my live stream people be okay if I just wear my hair natural? Sure. So I sat in a chair and let the sun dry my hair, and this is what happens. So there you go. It's my natural hair. But for whatever reason, they never let naturally curly hair be on TV. Yeah, I know that Black women have certainly suffered the most with having to straighten their hair, but there are a few of us white women who also couldn't ever read the news with hair like this back in the day. Hello, nice to see you. I know it's a weird change. So where are your relationship questions now? Now that if I see you also watching from different places, I'll be able to say hello. I keep going like this, you guys, because I'm trying to see over the top of my computer to the Instagram because I set it up and I didn't do it on a good angle. And I have to wait, let me see if I can just slide it upwards. Who knew? There we go. Now I can see the comments on Instagram. That's great. So if you have any relationship questions, if you watch my live stream, did we do a little Instagram on Sunday night during my radio show? I think we did. We did some Instagram. We definitely did about 45 minutes live on TikTok, which was very exciting. We had thousands and thousands of viewers on TikTok. And so we're going to try to do that as often as we can. Well, I will say that it is very difficult to do radio and essentially TV at the same time. And what I mean by that is, having to be concerned about posture, hair, makeup, looking at cameras while I'm thinking about filling that 2 hours of content and focusing on people's phone calls, etc. So it was a wild ride. Thanks, Old Dirty Dasher. That's natural. This is all my hair does. When I just get out of the pool, this is me. It's all natural today. So do we have any questions? Put them in the comments if you have questions, and I'll be happy to answer your relationship questions. I'm trying to think some of the things we talked about on Sunday's show. Isn't that funny? I just kind of erase it in my head. I talk for 2 hours and then I'm like, what were our subjects? What were we talking about? Why don't I give a few relationship tips for people? Actually, let me talk about this. So I have this theory that, well, it's not a theory. I know we all have an attachment style, a romantic attachment style. And that's kind of our little blueprint for love that sits in the background of our brain. It's made up of partly our genetic predisposition. We're wired to want a certain degree of closeness or feel easily smothered by too much closeness. And then those genes get either alivened or suppressed through how our early life caregivers tended to us. And you've heard me talk about this a lot. Simple example, most simple example, because it's quite a wide spectrum, is that if a baby comes into the world with a gene for anxiety and needs a lot of closeness and caring, and happens to have parents that read a baby book that said, oh, they need to cry it out. It's good for their lungs. Let them cry themselves to sleep. They'll be fine. Then that person can create this idea that love is about longing. And interesting enough, we go out in our adult romantic lives and we go right back to the scene of the crime. We literally find mates who will match our blueprint for love. And then we're trying to fix it, but we can't figure out that it's partly our choice of partner. And we choose people to help work out some of our early conflicts. Now, the good news is about 40% of Americans were raised by loving parents who had a secure attachment, who nurtured them, who mirrored their emotions to them, who cared for them. And then they'll go out and find partners who help them feel supported and loved as well. So what ends up happening, though, is people will use cultural ideas for attachment style. I have many, many women who contact me and say, well, you know, I'm an alpha woman, so I need an alpha man. And really what, you know, if you break it all down, what she's really saying is, I'm so independent because I'm afraid to depend on somebody, right? So in order to have a healthy relationship, we have to be able to trust love, trust we're lovable, and trust that people will meet our needs. You see, we are cooperative breeders. We are a many one mind. Nobody survives alone. We saw the mental health problems that happened during COVID with people suffering from isolation. We know that solitary confinement is the absolute worst punishment that you can ever give a human being, right? So we need each other. We need relationships. But so many of us choose partners that bring up some of our early childhood conflicts again. And that's the thing, is to learn how to change that. And we can. I mean, that's the good news. There's all kinds of research to show. I mean, the best thing you can do is choose somebody who has a secure attachment style. And when you either get really avoidant or really anxious, they're pretty stable and kind of wait it out. Or you could, oh, I see Sydney's got a good question. This is a good one, Sydney, especially in today's times. We're going to move off attachment theory and get into funny little dating apps. Okay, Sydney asks, if someone sends me nudes randomly, what does this mean? What can this tell me about that person? So Sydney, I'm not 100% sure if you're male or female, and I'm not sure the sex of the person sending them. I will say this, that when men send pictures of their genitalia, they are hoping that a woman will enjoy seeing that because men enjoy seeing pictures of nudity, not necessarily, depending on their orientation, not necessarily of male genitalia. And so what happens is, you know, there's research that shows that something like 90% of single women in America have received a picture of man's genitalia sent by text. And most of those women, it was completely unwanted and it was not asked for. I was watching a TikTok video the other day, and by the way, the answer to your question is, if somebody's sending you nudes randomly, it means that if it's nudes of them, it means they want to have sex with you. It may not mean they want to have a relationship, but they're trying to attract you. That's the bottom line question. But anyway, I was watching this TikTok video the other day, and this girl was saying that whenever she gets a picture texted to her of men's genitalia, since she has so many in her phone from all the men who sent them, and even though you and I know they expect her to send a picture of her nude back, she just sends another dick pic back, a different one. And he'll go, ooh, that's disgusting. And she'll go, yeah, right? This is a really good question. How to ignore the negatives on social media after a breakup, especially when it has to do with a famous person. You know, one of the reasons why, I think it's Ashley. I can't really see very well. There it is, Ashley. One of the reasons why celebrity relationships are so short-lived is because of that social pressure, because of the criticism in the tabloids and online and social media and everything. And it's really hard to grow intimacy when you're doing it in the public limelight. I will say this, that everyone needs to take a break from social media. Everybody needs to not take it seriously. I mean, sometimes I open up my comments and I'll be just like, not today. I don't have the strength of character today. So I sort of choose when I'm resilient enough And sometimes, we can be in a mood to sort of swat back, which I think never works. It just antagonizes them more. And yeah, you can certainly, Carrie suggests you just unfollow all the negatives. If people are saying something bad to me, I used to believe in total freedom of speech at any cost. And now I'm like, no, if you say mean things to me, you just get blocked. You get deleted. That's it. You don't get to stay in the club. You don't come to my house and talk like that. So even people they'll send me private messages. I'm a woman of a certain age, and they will send me private messages with sexually explicit language, thinking I'm going to respond. And I just delete and block. Somebody asked me, I had sex on my third date after my love. Is that going to ruin the relationship? Well, no, it's not about when you have the sex. It's about the conversations around sex and what it means and what you guys are and what your definition is. If you're having sex and you guys haven't talked about what this is, then there's a good chance that somebody could be hurt because somebody could like somebody more than another. Thank you for your kind comments with my weird natural hair. I never wear it on camera natural, but here it is. This is the natural me. Oh, thank you, Christy. That's very sweet of you to say. Anybody have any other questions? Someone asked me you obviously missed it. Ape, God bless you. What makes me decided to change my new hairstyle? No, I just got out of the pool today and I realized I didn't have to tape any videos tomorrow. So I let my hair be natural. But generally, before I meet with you or anybody on TV, I spend an hour in the bathroom, blow drying, flat ironing, curling, whatever. So this is all natural me. Thank you, Beth. Just me out of the pool. That's all it is. Any questions about relationships? I know my hair is always fun to talk about. Any other questions about relationships? We were talking about attachment style and us having a blueprint in our heads and going out and finding somebody who will match that blueprint. And if our blueprint was secure love, we'll find somebody who will have that. But if it had to do with longing or even abuse or criticism, then we will go out and unconsciously attract people. And we'll use the term, I've got a bad picker. That's what people will say. I've got a bad picker. What they really mean is that they, have an insecure attachment style. And they're, let me tell you what real love feels like. Once you have a secure attachment style, very little butterflies in the stomach. Butterflies in the stomach are anxiety. No roller coaster of highs and lows. Do they like me? Do they love me? Oh, it's great. Now they disappeared. What's happening? No roller coasters. You know what trusting love feels like? Almost like nothing. It feels like peace. It feels calm. When you pick up the phone to call your mate that they're going to pick up. And if they don't, they're really busy and they're going to get back to you as soon as. Somebody asked why these 30-somethings want long distance relationships and claim to adore me right off. Well, you lucky thing. What's going on? I think people are really confusing lust and infatuation with love. That's all that's going on. And long distance relationships are great for emotionally avoidant people because you're not really in a relationship, in a long distance relationship. You're emotionally kind of there. You physically get to hook up once in a while when you see each other, but it's not growing a day-to-day relationship. Okay, Sydney always has good questions. Sydney said tips for successful first dates. How do you know if a date went well? Well, first of all, the first time you meet somebody, we should not even be calling it a date. It should be called a first meeting, and it should be a coffee, and it shouldn't be more than 20 minutes long. Just schedule it like, hey, I'm running in between things. Can I meet you here for a few minutes? And that way, anybody who has good manners can get through 20 minutes with somebody that they're not interested in. I do suggest that you do not meet anybody in the real world until you've fully done a Google search. And if they don't have social media, you got to ask why, and that you've had a phone conversation. So it's not like you're meeting a stranger. But anyway, after that first coffee, then let's talk about the first date. And, it went well if both people learned something about each other. I mean, if you have a first coffee and somebody is just busy selling themselves and not even inquiring about you, date's not going well. So if it's sort of reciprocal and it's going back and forth, then that's a sign of a really good date. And Shaminda says, how do I work on my insecurities and jealousy? Well, that's a classic example of an anxious attachment style, right? Somebody who's vigilantly looking for signs of abandonment. And we call that jealousy, right? So it's about you learning how to love yourself and learning how to be lovable. There's actually a technique that cognitive behavioral therapists use called thought stopping. I know I talked about this before, where anytime you have a critical voice inside your head, you literally stop that thought and replace it with, I am lovable and I deserve love. Why do guys pick girls young enough to be their daughter? Either because these girls are particularly young and fertile and it sexually turns them on, or because they have intellectual power over them, because those girls have less life experience. So it makes them feel more secure. If you have sex with someone within 60 days of knowing them, what are my chances of breaking up? Statistical probability is that you've got something like a 20% chance of being together a year later. But more importantly, isn't the time. It's not the number of days. It's about the conversations that take place. The what are we conversations. Even if the conversation is, well, this is just sports sex or a hookup, you need to have the conversation. I'm dating somebody who's great, but he thinks money is bad and thinks all rich people are greedy. Should I worry about? Well, it depends. If that matches your value system, then he's a perfect person for you. If, on the other hand, you're worried about supporting babies because, oh, by the way, it costs a lot of money to have babies. And if you want to raise a family together, you're going to need somebody who is not dismissive about being a good provider. Somebody says they're attracted to older, sexually mature women. Money is fun. Now, the research on money, by the way, is that it doesn't necessarily make you happy. Here's what we know about economics and happiness, is that if the acquisition of wealth takes you from poverty into the middle class, you'll have a big boost in happiness, right? If you're worried about losing a roof over your head or food out of your fridge, you're not going to be a happy person, right? So changing that. Then anything more doesn't really increase your happiness. In America, the magic number is about $70,000 a year income. So every time you earn more money, all the way up until you hit $70,000 a year, you get a little bit happier. After 70,000, you don't get any happier. But here's what we do know, and this is the most fascinating. Did I post this today, or I recorded it yesterday? So I didn't post this video yet. The research shows that happy people make more money, because happy people have better close relationships. They have better business relationships. They're able to connect with customers better. They work hard to achieve skills in an area. They get better education. So I say the same thing about relationships. You know, relationships don't make you happy, and you shouldn't hope that finding the right person is going to make you happy. What we do know is that happy people have happy relationships. Funny, right? Thank you, Natasha, on the hair. It's just natural hair today. I got out of the pool. That's just the deal. There it is. This is natural hair. As I said, as a news anchor all those years, it wasn't only Black women who had to fight with flat irons all day long. It was also women like me with curly hair. And my little joke, Natasha, used to be when my kids, I'd wear them in baby Bjorns, right? And always have my hair flat ironed. And people, I don't think they meant to be racist. They were just curious. So they would say, oh, where did that baby get her curls from? And I always say, me, I just don't have flat iron. This is my funny little thing. I used to think I was being funny. Sydney has a question about attachment theory. There's a really great book for lay people on the market that you love that's simply called Attached. It's called Attached, and it breaks down attachment theory in a good way. Correlation between stability and money, though. Yes. But then there's that other extreme. So there's a correlation between stability and money, because people who are more conscientious, people who get more education tend to get more money. But then there are also people who put making money first above the other important things in relationships. Okay. Anybody else have any more questions? I'm going to wrap in a few minutes. I'll tell you why. The reason why I'm so casual is because I actually have my leggings on and my Pilates outfit, because My daughter Jones and I are going to a 7:00 Pilates class. We have a reservation for it. Yes, Reggie, the book called Attached is amazing. Thank you, Daniel. Just natural hair, very little makeup. That's just how it is. Sydney, what are you? Just a robot of amazing questions. Oh my gosh, you guys asked me saying that. It's really sweet of you to say nice things. I'm not here for me. I'm here for you. So, but thank you. It's very kind. Sydney asks, how do I know if my partner's being authentic? How can I be authentic during a relationship? You know what, as far as knowing if somebody else is being authentic, listen to your stomach more than your ears, right? Really ask your body. Psychologists call our stomach the second brain because we have to pay attention to the information in our stomachs. And how can you be authentic? You start by practicing very small disclosures that are very personal, but small. And you see how they take it. Do they show empathy and compassion? Are they reciprocating by then opening up about themselves? If it's not happening, put some boundaries up. Your Canadian friend bought you that book. Good. Oh yeah, that book. A lot of people have read the book Attached. It is a lens through which I look at everything in life, not just romantic relationships. You can look at, like, if you have a boss breathing down your neck about deadlines who seems to be fear-based and always worried about what's going on with the people upstairs and blah, 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 you can see somebody with an anxious attachment style in the workplace. If you see people that want to be alone in their cubicle and they don't want to be disturbed, you see the avoidant people. You see the extremes and you see the subtleties across the scale because it's quite a scale. Thank you, Gina. It's just natural today. Any more questions before I go? All right. So here's what everyone should know. If you are not following me on TikTok now, you really need to, because it looks like I'm going to be doing my radio show live on TikTok. So especially if you're in like another country and for some reason you can't listen on the iHeartRadio app, you should be watching on TikTok. So please, please, please follow me on TikTok. It's at Dr. Wendy Walsh. That's the space where I'm at the most. That's the space where I'm growing the most. So where can you find more? Usually every second Tuesday. I got a frog in my throat. I need some tea. Every second Tuesday, which is Wednesday morning for you guys down under, I do a segment on mornings on 9 Network Australia, on KFI AM 640 Los Angeles, every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Here, I think I have a banner that shows that. If you have not listened to my podcast, Mating Matters, I encourage you to please go on and subscribe to my podcast. I really, I'm so proud of that work. And there are like 57 episodes up. And if you haven't listened to them all, I put so much work into those episodes. I'm very, very proud of them. And I want to share them with the world because I think everybody needs to know that information. So Mating Matters podcast, KFI AM 640 Los Angeles, Australia 9 Network. If you download the app called Local Now, I have 4 verticals on Local Now. I have a whole vertical on parenting advice, one on workplace relationships, one on love relationships, and one on mental health and self-improvement. You can see me on Local Now. And there was something else I wanted to say, and I forgot. Hate that. All right. We will see you Sunday on KFI AM 640. If you're not in Los Angeles, please subscribe to my TikTok channel and you can watch it then. And also send me your questions all week long because I read out a lot of questions on air. So send them on private messages, on email, whatever, and I'll try to answer your questions. All right. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. Bye. End broadcast here.